Hello everyone, happy Saturday to you from my little part of the world. It is Saturday, May 10th, 2025, and welcome to my presentation for this round of the Global Inspiration Stamp Team featuring the new May product release and the new In Colors. I'm Maureen Rolfus, also known as the Crazy Stamping Lady. I am coming to you from Murfreesboro, Tennessee in the United States. And I hope you have been watching all of the amazing presentations. I'm just making sure I'm up in the right place. You know, we have a few places I go up and I want to be sure, and it looks like I am in the right place. I have been watching them. I haven't seen them all yet. I've clicked on a couple of them for a couple minutes. It's been a super busy weekend here, but I will watch every one of them, I promise, because I learn things from each presentation I watch. Please, if you do use anything that we're teaching you or any of the products, hi Kathy, glad you're on. Let me know and post them here in the group. We would love to see what you make. Be sure you watch each presentation, and while you're watching them, please say hi and leave your comments. That's how we know you got something out of it. It's how we interact with you, and it makes it so much more fun for us as demonstrators. So, yeah, let's get creating. I'm going to take you right down to my table, so hang with me a second here. And here we go. So I know you've seen these, but I'm using the same 5 new In Colors as everyone else. I just wanted to make sure that you have seen them over and over because they are amazing. It is Secret Sea, Strawberry Slush, Cloud Cover, Darling Duckling, and Timid Tiger. And I love them. And look how pretty they look together. That's what I love every time. It seems like not only do the color Stampin' Up! Brings in work well in our color palette, but they work well together as a little family, and I love that. So for my presentation today, I am going to be using the Notes and Totes bundle from page 81 of the annual catalog. It is adorable. Hopefully I can present it to what it rightfully deserves, because there is so much you can do with this bundle. If you just look at the samples on here, they are so cute, and they've used a few things I haven't, so I will show you those parts, but come back and refer to your catalog on page 81 maybe and see how some of the pieces that I don't use are used, because it is super, super cute. Okay, let's move on right to our products. So I did die cut all the pieces out for this bundle, and I don't normally do that. I know a lot of demonstrators do. I don't normally, but this one had so many pieces that I wanted to be able to visually see what I had to work with. So as you're looking at this, it has this little item here that I have seen used as a book and as a newspaper, and we'll talk about that more later. Has a couple little seashells, some sunglass pieces that when you cut out the sunglasses in frames, you get these extra little hearts. It has a little scarf. It has a water bottle. It has a lotion bottle. It has a sunscreen tube. It has a couple different handles for your totes. And here is the tote that you can use to make your little projects, and we're going to be using that a few different ways. It has a little pocket that goes on the front of the tote. All these little like embellishments for on the tote, as well as these over here. Now these here I think are supposed to be like little buckles you could use on the tote as decorative, but to me, if you turn them this way, they become little goldfish crackers, and I have a grandson who is obsessed with goldfish crackers, so I foresee myself using those in that way. This piece here comes out of the center of the handle. And as I was looking at it, I thought that is just too great of a piece to get rid of. So I'm going to show you how I think you could use it like a pocket on your little purse. And you can probably come up with some other great ideas for it. And then a little gift tag. So we're going to be playing, oh, and I forgot about these wood pieces. So I did not use these for sure. So I can show you real quick how those were used on this one image right here. because I know I'm not going to be showing them. They made this adorable little fence and had the little tote, you know, kind of hanging out above it. And I loved that idea. I just didn't use it that way. So it does look like great fencing. And even if you didn't use it with the notes and totes, definitely a great way to make a little fence if you wanted it on one of your cards. So I'm going to set this to the side for now. We can bring it back out if we need it. Here are the measurements and the product list for my card. Now, just a reminder that we are doing a PDF of all of our main projects that will include this list and all of these, my measurements. Sorry about that. So if you place any order now between April 18th, you will get that whole PDF, which will be wonderful. But for today, I'm going to use this as my reference as I'm talking to you and giving you the different shapes and sizes. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just make my main project. And then I'll show you a few alternative ideas that you can do with this adorable set. So it comes with a ton of dies that you can see here and a couple more that I've pulled out because I'm going to be using them. And then it has the sentiments: sending warm wishes, just a note, relax and enjoy, you earned it, newsflash, you're fabulous, exclusive, made just for you, which would be cute on the back of all of your cards with your little initials or name underneath it, and so grateful, a true story. So I loved those. They are fun. It has a floral design, a kind of dotty design, a cluster of flowers, a sunshine, and I think these are water drops, and they all go great with this set. So we're going to be playing and making a card today, and we're going to be playing with a ton of pieces from this bundle, as you can see as I pour out here. Some of them I have pre-done and some I will do with you. We're going to start out with just a basic white envelope. This is an A2 size card. So I have an A2 base here, but instead of going the normal way, this is a tent card, so it opens up from the bottom. So you're going to start out with an 11-inch sheet of cardstock that is 4 1/4 inches wide, and you're going to score it at 5.5 to get this. Then I have a piece of the Bokeh Blue Designer Series paper. This is continuing over, and I'm so glad because I love it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out online. It's got beautiful designs, just real neutral, that you can use for so many different things. This one has that kind of bokeh look to it, or bouquet as some people pronounce it. It's kind of just kind of blurred little circles, and I love it for that feel of the ocean or a summer day or the sky. I wish we had a whole pack of just this balmy blue because I have used it so much. I think I only have 1 sheet left from the 2 packets I purchased of this. So we're going to use this. This is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then my other things, I think I'm just going to talk to you as we go. So we're going to start out by putting this piece of Bokeh or Bouquet Designer Series paper onto the front of this card base. And it is cut to the same size as the card base front. So I'm just going to line it up here down at the bottom, trying to get it perfect. And if your card base is a hair wider, try to center it. If it's a hair narrower, then yeah, whatever. So I do have a little hint coming off on each side. I'm not going to worry about this. This is very little. I didn't line it up real perfectly here. So probably when I'm totally done with this card, I would trim that off with my paper trimmer. But since I don't, maybe I can do that right now. Let me see if I can find it here. I have a whole bunch of stuff under my table. I do have it. Let's just trim that off so that I'm not looking at that little bit of white sticking off the whole time and letting it drive me crazy. Now this is a very thin piece, which is a little difficult with the trimmer. So I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to kind of come up here in the middle of this and go both directions to get that little bit of a hair of white off. Oh, that worked perfect. So we're good. So here is our tent card base, now slightly narrower than 4 1/4, but only a hair. Okay, so there's our base. And we are going to build a scene because I think this set is perfect for scene building. We're going to start out by making a beach scene, which is why I wanted this lovely blue sky background on here, because that looked beachy and oceany to me. And we're going to take a piece of crumb cake cardstock. Now this cardstock is 2 inches by 4 1/4, and I'm going to tear it. So I'm just going to tear it, pulling toward me, if I can get it going here. And when you do that, I'm going to go back and forth. When you pull it up like that, you're going to get that really kind of fibery edge on this side. But on here, you're going to have more of a smooth side. I want a fibery edge for both layers of this. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pull this all along, up and down, like it's a sandy scene, like that. And then we're going to flip this one over, and now we have that same thing on that side. So we're going to use these 2 pieces to build our little beach scene. The first thing I want to do on them is make them look like sand. So I'm going to grab that little dotty image out of this kit, as well as my crumb cake stamp pad. Let's open that up. And I'm just going to stamp sand onto here. And let me get a piece of scrap paper to put underneath there. So if it goes off on my glass mat, I don't have to worry about wiping it up right now. So here's my scrap paper. And we're just going to take these little dots and stamp them onto our crumb cake cardstock. And I'm just kind of turning them and doing them in different directions so it doesn't look like just a standard little pattern went all the way across, because sand is definitely not necessarily in a pattern per se. So there's the first one. I'm going to do this same one too, making sure that I have the edge up that is kind of frayed like that, because that's what I want to show. And this is such a fast way to add a little texture, is to just use these dotty stamps. Whenever we have stamps with the little dots in, I end up hanging on to them because I love them for so many different types of backgrounds and stuff. So there we go. So there is our sand on there using our crumb cake. And then I'm going to take, if I can find it, my blender brush. So I have one for each color group, and this is my brown one. It looks a little orange on here because probably some of those browns have an orange undertone, but I don't change it out every time I use browns, because browns are going to work fine on here. I'm just going to ink this up and use it on the edge, on that little frayed edge. And what that will do is darken that a little bit and give it a little more oomph. You'll be able to see that fraying on there just slightly more. So if I lay these side by side, you can see that this one doesn't have the color and this one does. I'm going to do the same thing with this layer. Just ink it up, come with my brush, brush that color on all the way down. And that's just going to make it a little more delineated. Okay, so there we go. Our sand is coming together beautifully. Okay, so now we're going to add these sand layers to the front of our card. And I am just going to take some seal. Now I want this coming up a little bit from the bottom of our card. Let's see about how high, maybe about that high on the card. So what I'm going to do is place this one. Let me see which one I want to place first. I'm just kind of playing with it to see how it's going to look when I'm done. Let's see if I move this one up a little bit and place this one over, how that looks. So you can play with your things before you tack them down to give yourself a good idea of how they're going to look on your card. I actually think I like it the other way. So we're going to lay this one down first. Yeah, I like it this way, I'm sorry. This one down first, and it's going to come up just about a 1/4 inch or so from the bottom of this card to get it at the height that I want it. Just like that. And then I'm going to come back in with this one and put it right along the bottom like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take my seal. Now when I'm taking my seal on these, I am only putting it along that bottom edge. Not as important with this one, but more for this one because I want to tuck some things down in between that sand on this sandy scene. Now at this point, I can take my fingers and kind of pull some of that little textured edge forward to delineate this bottom row of sand even a little bit more, just like that. So hope you can see that on camera. So the next thing we're going to do is add our tote to this because that's going to be our main thing that we put on here. So this is my little tote. I pre-cut this out using a piece of designer series paper from the new online exclusive Woven Textures. Now this is gorgeous designer series paper. I'm not going to pull it all out and show you, but every piece is just full of deep texture images. And I'm using the one that looks a little bit like linen to me, like a summer linen. And we're going to build our tote using this piece. Now this die cuts this piece out just like this. And then what you want to do is take your bone folder and make sure you fold on all of those crease marks. Okay, so it has several of them. You want to get them all. And this is what gives this little tote a lot of dimension. And then even on the bottom here, there is this little piece that kind of folds in. I'm doing this on my card, so I don't necessarily need this piece per se. So I'm going to cut it off. But in a little while, I'm going to show you how you can make the little tote 3D. And in that case, we would want to leave it on there. So I'm just cutting it off so I don't have that extra bulkiness. And then we're going to make our little tote. So when my tote is done, it's going to stick down here in the sand between my two layers, which is going to be really cool. But we want to decorate it and make it look adorable first. So let me grab that scrap paper back. And I am going to take one of the new in colors, Summer Slush. This is a returning color, so you might have it from before or some of the coordinating things that go with it, which is cool if you do. And I'm going to grab that cluster of flowers out of the stamp set. And I love this because I think it was Katie that mentioned early that you can stamp onto your designer series papers. And I love it when you do that because you get a lot of dimension. You not only get your stamped image, but you get all of that dimension from whatever is already printed onto your paper. So we're going to ink this up. And I'm going to come in here and just stamp these flowers down. Once right here. And then I'm going to come over and do them once more. I should have gone off the edge a little bit more in there, but that's okay. It won't matter. I just want to show you. And we're only doing part of it. It's like this tote was made with only part of it floral and part of it linen. I just kind of like that look. And we're going to add a little bit of stuff here that I think that this will make it stand out better by not having the flowers. You could go all the way across if you wanted that look, but we're going to stop right there on this little tote. And then after I do that, I'm going to add all my pieces. So these 3 pieces are cut out with one die, one swipe through the die cutting machine. It's one attached die, but it cuts out the 3 individual pieces. And these are the straps and things that are going to go on to my little tote here. So let me grab my silicone mat and my little glue sponge so you can see it's sticky. I use this over and over and over and it just remains tacky and it works great. And I love it when I'm trying to add glue to tiny little pieces. So I'm going to put some glue on here just like that, a dab of it. And if you don't have a silicone mat, they come in handy for so many things. I would suggest trying to get one. They are very inexpensive, which is awesome. I'm going to kind of curve the ends on this little piece here before I put my glue on because you can see the tote curves a little bit, and that'll make it go on slightly easier. Actually, before I do that, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the straps first. We're going to do these. So these are just little decorative straps on your tote. I'm going to just dab my glue all along there. Tombow glue does not need a lot. So by doing this, I can dab the glue without having it ooze out anywhere. I am going to take my tweezers and flip this. And we're going to add this to the tote. Now you could add them on the very side here, but I'm going to come in just about wide enough for my handle. So let me grab my handle so I can kind of see where that lays. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if I lay my handle at the top of here, I want one of my straps coming down right about here, like that. And then we'll do the other one the same way. And these are very tiny, guys, so you could use, if you wanted, the adhesive paper on the back. But to me, I'm doing so many little pieces on here that using the Tombow glue actually works better for me. So you have to figure out what works better for you. And I want this other strap coming up right here, kind of where that other handle is going to go. And the Tombow gives you just a little bit of wiggle room to move that if you need to. Okay, so there's my two little pieces on my tote. And then this piece that is wider is the matching bottom piece for this tote. So I don't put a ton of Tombow out. I put it out as I go. That just works better for me. Otherwise, it kind of dries on here, which isn't the end of the world, because once it dries, it's so easy to just kind of roll it off, and I love that about it. But we're going to come in here and place some more of that on there. Now this piece is ready, and this is going to come across the bottom of my tote. And the corners match up with the corners, and then these angle pieces come up on the side. And look at that, how adorable that is. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, I just love this. So now, because I curved those little pieces on the edge before I laid them on, they just bend a little easier on those creased parts and stay together. So that's the base of our tote. We're going to add our handles, and to do that, I'm going to use glue dots. So right behind these two bottom pieces on the handle, I'm just going to place a glue dot on one side. And watch how I'm building this, because later when I show you how you do the little totes, you would just repeat the same exact design like I just did, but on both sides, so it really looked like a tote all the way around. And then these can come up here onto the handles with the glue dots. And now we have our little beach tote handles on there, which is stinking adorable. Oh, that kind of popped up. Let's push that down again. Make sure that that Tombow really sticks on there. Okay, so now we're coming together with our little tote on here. Now I want to place this tote, like I said, into my sand. So I'm going to move these for a second. But I want to be able to put stuff in it later. So I'm going to keep it open at the top. So to attach this to my card, I'm not even going to put any glue on here. I don't think it's necessary. It'll just tuck up right into the card. I am going to take some Tombow glue, and on each of these side flaps, so not the bottom one, although you could, I just try not to do more than is necessary. My Tombow is kind of sticking in there, guys. I might have to use a pin to release it. It's not coming out very well. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. I always keep a straight pin close by in case things get clogged, and this one seems to be a little clogged. So let's see if that helps. Let's put some on here. Oh yeah, there we go. So I'm just putting Tombow along that edge and Tombow along this little flap here. I'm making sure that I don't want this glue to ooze out in any way, because I want the middle of this tote to be open. So I'm going to use my finger and just kind of spread that and then wipe it off here on my chamois. Okay, what we're going to do now with this tote is, with everything folded back in, I'm going to come in here and place this at an angle in the sand, just like that, and then push down on my sides, making sure to let the top of the tote still be a little bit open so that I can put things in there. Hopefully that's angled where you can see it. I just love this look. I think it is so cute. It'll stand up. You can see the top of the little tote on there. Now we want to do more. This is not enough. So I pre-stamped a piece of the Darling Duckling with Darling Duckling using the little hibiscus flower out of this stamp set. And then I die cut this little scarf out of there. So this scarf is going to hang on to my tote. So I'm going to grab another glue dot. And we're going to add that just hanging off to the side here on this handle like it was tied around it, just like that. And then what else did I do? Oh, here's that piece I wanted to show you earlier. I'm sorry, jumping around. This is what cuts out those 3 little strips that we use. They all come out on one die, but you run it through and get them all on one. So, okay, so then we have some other little pieces here. I have part of my sunglasses, but I'm going to cut out more and show you how this little sunglass thing works and how they come together. So I'm going to grab my little cut and emboss machine and a piece of the Strawberry Slush cardstock. And these sunglasses come one long strip like this, but it cuts out actually 2 different parts of the sunglasses. So I have been cutting them out, and if I have extra pieces from it, just saving them in a little cello bag so that I can use them on future cards. So this one is cut out with Strawberry Slush, and it's going to go with this piece that I pre-cut out using Secret C. So I saw people asking what your favorite in color was. I'm going to share that my favorite in colors are the Secret C in the cloud cover. They are so pretty together. I just love them. But I actually like all the colors. I can't complain about any of them. I think they're all wonderful. So there's that die. All the pieces just fell out, which is super nice. My little plate here is well loved. So a lot of times things will stick to that plate. So I'm just going to pull off this piece, which is the same exact piece I had done with the Secret C. And then I'm going to pull off this piece. So this is going to become the frame to our sunglasses. And then as a bonus, I get 2 extra little hearts. How cool is that? So I'm going to just take those and put them in that cello bag for future use. We might use them today. We'll see. I'm not sure. Okay, so that is cut out. I think that's all the cutting I'm going to do on screen. I just wanted to show you how those work because they are pretty unique. We'll get rid of this die, put it in my little magnetic thing here, and then we're going to put our sunglasses together. So I'm going to take these. These are super thin, guys. Look how narrow. So using this works wonderful. Just to pat some glue on there to get a tiny bit more. And when you're doing this, you do want to do it on a cello sheet, guys. You really do. I'm going to use my little pokey tool here. You could use your take your pick tool to kind of hold it in place as I dab this glue on because it is so narrow. I'm going to flip it around and hold the other side and do the same thing. And, get the glue on there and then pounce it onto my frame. And then I'm going to use my tweezers again. So having all these little tools really does help you when you're crafting. None of them are expensive. Tweezers are inexpensive. I got mine at the dollar store, I'm pretty sure. The little pokey tool comes with your take your pick tool. The silicone mat is very reasonable. So all of those things just make your crafting experience better. Trust me, guys. If you can afford them, sometimes they're more important than all the other things like the stamp sets and the paper. So look how cute those sunglasses are. Aren't they adorable? I want to be sure that that glue adheres really well, so I'm just going to take my bone folder and kind of roll it on there and press it down to make sure that the frames are on the sunglasses. I love them. I think they are so cute. And we're going to add these hanging down on the side of our tote as if the little thing was just right over the edge and hanging there. And I think that's so cute. Like I said, this was like, maybe like, paper dolls kind of, you know, when you're playing with paper dolls and you get all those little pieces and you put them together and you stick them together. I loved paper dolls when I was little, and this set kind of reminds me of that. Oops, that one didn't come off very good. I actually lost some of the back of the paper on there. So let's do that one more time. But because that paper kind of got shredded here, I'm going to put Tombow on there. That glue dot pulled off some of it, and I know if I put another glue dot, it's just going to pull more now because it's more porous. So we're going to do it that way. There's more than one way to put your stuff together. And I'm going to hang these over on this side, coming down from the side of the tote and hanging down over my tote, just like that. Again, I want to make sure this adheres well, so I'll take my bone folder and run it over there so everything is adhering very well. So our tote is really coming together so cutely, cutely, cutely. Now I do want a sentiment on this card here. And so we are going to stamp on this strip of basic white. This strip is 7/8 of an inch by 4 1/4. And for this, I'm going to stamp using the Secret C stamp pad. And the sentiment from the kit that says, relax and enjoy. This would be great if someone was going off on a vacation or a cruise. It would be a fun card. Just to give for a birthday, telling people just to get out and relax and enjoy their birthday. Oh, did I smudge? Let's see if that's smudge or if that's paper. I think I did smudge. Well, that's not good. Let's try this one more time. It's always nice that cardstock has two sides. And if I had to cut another piece, I could do that too. I use my scraps for most of this, so relax and enjoy. And I am stamping this to the right side more on my piece of cardstock. And that's because on the left-hand side, I am going to grab my Darling Duckling ink and this little sun that comes in the kit, in the stamp set. And we're going to just stamp that sun over here to the side to kind of pull in that whole beach scene that we're making right there on our sentiment strip. And then I'm just going to take this strip and add it to my card. So I'm going to use some seal on the back of here and come in and lay this up here, kind of centering it between the handle and the top of my card. Not worrying about it being perfect, but I want it to show, so I don't want to cover it up with a handle. Okay, and there is that. I'm going to use my scrap paper so I have a little glue on my fingers. It doesn't come off on here when I rub it. There we go. So there is our sentiment. And then it is a beach scene, so I really wanted to add some beachiness to it. So I pre-cut out one of the little shells using the cloud cover cardstock. And we're going to add some adhesive to the back of this. And this one isn't as tiny, but it does have all these little holes in it. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the Tombow and pounce it on, because that way I have a much less chance of any of that glue, because it's going on there so lightly, coming through those holes on there. So I'm just going to pounce and pounce until it's completely covered. And we're going to pick that up, and I'm going to use my tweezers again because it just makes it easier for placement, and place this little shell kind of down here in the sand next to the tote, like that. And then I have a little sea fish or starfish I'm going to do the same thing with. Pounce, pounce, pounce. You can always get more glue if you need it, but honestly, it takes very little Tombow to hold these things, guys. And we're going to place this one down here, just like that, to complete the little scene. And then the last thing I want to do on here before we move on is to add a few gems. So for this one, I'm going to use just the Rhinestone Basic Gems. I love these. They are such a staple. They are my favorite. I use them so often. And I really like them. Oh, do I have a piece of... I picked up somehow that little piece that I cut off. Sorry, we're going to throw that away so that doesn't happen again. I love them with anything with the sun because they just remind me of the sun just sparkling, and I love that feel. So we're going to take a couple of these little rhinestone gems, as many as you like. I usually go with 3, sometimes 5. I rarely use more than that, but I never say never because every card is unique and brings out its own personality. We'll place another one up here. Actually, that's pretty stinking cute. I think I'm going to stop right there. So this card, like I said, is a tent card. It'll stand up like this. But what I liked best about it is it can also be a gift card holder at this point. So I found this adorable little gift card from Biscuit Love, which is a restaurant here in the South in Tennessee. And the colors matched so well with some of our new in colors. The strawberry slush was in there. The secret sea was in here. No, the cloud cover was in here. And so I thought it would be great. And look at, you can put your little gift card right down in there. And this is ready for gift giving with that little card in the tote. So what do you think, guys? This is my main project. This is the one I will be giving you all the measurements for and all the basic information on it, all the products I used. Now I did make one of these ahead of time. That was my prototype. Let me show you that. It's almost exactly the same. I just finished it off a little bit more. So for this one, I finished off the envelope by adding those flowers to the side of the envelope. Here's the same card, but on the inside, I took those other pieces of the sunglasses, the dark and the pink, and I just put them on the inside at the bottom like that. And I love that. So I most likely will end up finishing this new one the same way. I think it's adorable that way. So that was the one I started out with. And then I wanted to play with this. So I did one more card. Let me get this one out of the way. And it's similar, very similar. But for this one, I just put the relax and enjoy up the side. On this one, I did the sand in the tote almost the same way, but for this, I used a designer series paper that was floral. And I loved that look too. I did a different layering up here, popped up my sun. What I did on here, which I thought was interesting when I was hearing Katie talk earlier, is I got these just yesterday. It was after I had made my prototype, I got these. I hadn't put any gems or embellishments on this one yet, on this card. And when I saw these, they so reminded me of bubbles. Now I know bubbles don't come floating up out of the sand or out of the ocean, but it just gave me that whole feel of the ocean like bubbles. And I kept thinking, wouldn't that have been cute like with our old sea turtle set that we had or any of our ocean ones? These new holograph resin dots are amazing. When the light hits them a certain way, they'll show pinks, they'll show blues, but from an angle, they almost look green or yellow. It's very interesting to see all the color changes on here. So for this card, I decided to use those as my embellishments, and I think they worked great. And then I just finished the inside with a little strip of sand in there to match. So that is another alternative for this. And then I wanted to show you a couple other things. So that is great, the way that came together. But there's also so much more you can do with this. If you like treat holders or things like that, I made this adorable little treat holder. It's two-sided. I used the other handles from the set. I embossed this ahead of time using the new Damask Designs embossing folder, which is gorgeous. It just gives you kind of that wallpaper type background look from an old Victorian home. I love it. So I used that to emboss my cardstock on here. Put my two handles. I closed in the sides on this. So I pulled those sides all together so it makes almost like a little box tote that you could put your treats in if you wanted to. Now I told you earlier that one piece out of the set could be used as a book. So I took the piece that was like that, added some designer series paper, a couple of my extra hearts from doing my sunglasses, a little border, and put So Grateful, a true story. And this could be like a cute little book tucked right in there in the tote. You could put it on a dimensional and have it coming out if you wanted. I also did a couple of the other pieces. So there is this pocket for your totes that you can cut out. And I was thinking that could be really cute on the front of there if you wanted to add that as a little pocket. And remember that section out of the middle of my handles? I was thinking that also could be a little pocket, a designer pocket on there if you wanted. Just attaching it at the bottom and maybe sticking something tiny in there. Why not, right? It's just a different design, and I hate to throw these away. So I'm gonna find some fun things to do with this center part out of these handles because I love them. And then in the kit, there is also a cute little water bottle. So on this water bottle, I just stamped some of the little splashes because it's water, makes sense, right? So you could add this cute little water bottle to your tote. And there was also a little suntan lotion. So I just colored the cap of my suntan lotion with yellow and stamped my little sun on it. And that could go in your tote. Really super cute ideas that you could do with this. You can also make this tote wide like I did here. So I'm going to show you basically how you could do that. If you're going to do that, you're going to cut out 2 of those tote layers like I showed you earlier. And you're not going to want to cut off any of the bottom. I glued 2 of the outside flaps together just for the sake of time with Tombow glue. I'm now going to glue the other 2 together over here. So you're just going to take your glue. And I think liquid glue works the best for this because it has that wiggle room that you're going to want. So oh, there was whatever was holding my Tombow in now just gave way. So I might have to spread this out a little bit. Another good way to pick up excess glue if you have it is I keep little pieces of this plasticky paper. This is the paper from behind my glue dots. And it works wonderful as a scrapey little tool. If you get too much glue, you can just run it along and pick some of that up and throw it away because it's just trash. So why hang on to it, right? And that way, now my glue is going to work so much better. I'm going to take this other piece and lay it right on top of there, and we're going to move those 2 flaps together. And I'm going to hold it for just a second here because I want that glue to set. This is a 3D item. If you have little clamps or little clothespins, that's a great thing to use on here. You can just clamp it together or clothespin it together while you're working on the rest of your project. And that way it makes sure that your glue adheres. But in the interest of time, we are just going to move forward. Now these pieces tuck in. So this is going to form the bottom of your tote. You are going to tuck these little folded pieces in on one side, and that's going to cover that little triangle that otherwise would be left open if you didn't do this. I'm just going to pull this whole piece, folding those flaps in and tuck it in on one side. And then I'm going to add some Tombow glue once again to this flap. Just like that. And then we're going to take these 2 on this side and fold those in and tuck this in on this side while I'm folding this all together. It just takes a little finagling. It's not hard. It's a little hard to do on camera because I can't get right over it. But it is definitely not difficult to do. I'm just going to pull these little flaps in, tuck this in on the side. Come on in there. You did it just perfect for me yesterday. There we go. Get in there. I'm going to use my snips to kind of push that down in because it looks like I'm not getting it far. There we go. That went in perfect. And then close your bottom. So that way you are finishing off your tote. I'm going to hold this again. And you're finishing off those little triangles on the side there, as you can see, so they're not open on the bottom of your tote. If you didn't tuck those pieces in, you would just have an open area there, and that would not look as finished. So that's what those are for. I'm going to make sure all my sides are glued really well. And my flap on the bottom is glued really well. So again, you just want to hold that Tombow. It takes a little while, but it's worth it because of the wiggle room that you have. And so now I have my little 3D tote. So this one was folded in. This one I would leave open. You would just finish each side of it with your pieces just like you did here. And then you would have another little treat holder, or for that matter, a cute little gift card holder to fill with candy and other things and give to someone. And I loved that idea too. So this is super fun, guys. I hope you liked it. It has just been a joy to play with it. Let me bring back in the card that we made today, and I'll bring in that other envelope just so you can see how I finished it. This again is my main project, and I will be providing all the info in the PDF on this. I hope you liked it too, guys. I'll pull some of these back in so you can see them. Just tons of fun. Again, notes and totes. I'm so happy you took some time with me today to be here. I hope you've enjoyed the presentations. Angie's going to be coming back up at the top of the hour with some closing thoughts, because I'm your last actual presentation this round. I hope you'll pop back on. She'll give you some reminders and tips and things that you might need to know. And then we will see you all in a couple months. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.